Hello, this is Tyron Giuliani with Selling Made Social, and I am here with Andrew. I'm here with Bruce Johnson, with Charlie, Jamie Taryn Smith, Marielle Leguer, is Marius Priya, Richard Conduit, Sandy Steinman. It's Ty, the LinkedIn guy, Coach Ty, and here I am with one of my favorite students, and this is Don, and Don came to me from Hawaii. And when Don came to me, the mission was his LinkedIn kind of sucked. What wasn't working in your business before you came to Selling Made Social?
Well, LinkedIn wasn't working in my business because nobody was contacting me. Because I pretty much had a boring resume as my profile on LinkedIn.
Before you came into Selling Made Social, what wasn't working for you in the business?
So basically, I was coming out of being a programmer, so my LinkedIn had nothing to do with closing whatsoever. And it was awful because I'm like, okay, I'm used to this resume CV style of LinkedIn. So it was like, okay, here's what I do, ABC, here's my credentials, DFG, whatever.
I could start seeing people doing stuff with LinkedIn. So for me, I suddenly realized there was a tool in there that I probably wasn't exploiting. I didn't know how to use LinkedIn. Right? Now, I could have spent hours, days, weeks, months trying to work it out and do all the tests. But I'm one that actually cut to the chase, guys. Go and find the people that know how to do it and are doing it.
Yeah, so I first sought out working with somebody who is a specialist in LinkedIn because I was kind of trying to figure out how to make LinkedIn work. I knew that people who were looking for professional help, support, mentorship were on LinkedIn. But when I was connecting with people, like you said, they probably were saying, this girl is a marketing training person in med device. And I did have like one line about my new business, but it definitely wasn't focused. So I wasn't getting traction. I wasn't getting responses from people. It just wasn't clicking. And I knew that it was the space for me to be in.
I just got a bit tired of networking. I was going to all these networking events, and I was just realizing as well that as good as networking is, for a start, you don't know who's who, you don't know who's in the room. I used to go to them and just feel exhausted by the end of the night, knowing that I hadn't kind of even spoken to that many people.
Really, if I connected to someone, I just get a hi, thanks for connection. And that was it. The conversation stopped there unless I really pushed for it. Yeah, that shift in profile, knowing who I have to target and everything was just a big change. And seeing the results, how quick it actually happens in such a short time was very shocking, to say the least.
Right.
My LinkedIn was ACV, and it just didn't work. Nobody ever came.
You know, originally I did kind of the same thing I think that most people do until they meet you, Tyron. And, you know, my profile looked the same, and, you know, and my people are on LinkedIn. You know, my prospects are on LinkedIn, Tyron, and it just so happened that you popped up, and you know, and that was a great thing.
Yeah, I seem to pop up when people need me most.
I'm amazed that you figured out how to do that. I like that.
So what decided, you know, what was it that made you decide, like, you've got to get help, you've got to make a change?
I saw your ad, to be honest with you, on Facebook. And it's like, okay, I need to explore this. And I really had no intention of making any sort of decision, but you spent 2 hours on the phone with me on the first call. And it was like, this person cares.
What happened when you decided that you had to get help and had to transform?
Yeah, so it was that moment that I started hearing from my fellow high-ticket closers, just like, okay, it looks like LinkedIn's got a lot of people that we're looking for, because these are the kinds of people that actually deliver results.
Well, actually, I heard your ad I saw it on Facebook, but I just listened to you kind of, I don't even remember exactly what you said, but it made a lot of sense to me at the time. You talked about using LinkedIn and the right way, and how 99% of the people, I think, are using it incorrectly. And I could identify for sure I was in that percentage.
What kind of fears came up, when you were thinking about doing this investment?
What if it doesn't work? What if I spend this money and I'm in the wrong space? What if this guy isn't like what he seems to be?
For me, if you'd have said the course was going to cost 25 grand or something, I might have, probably would have balked.
Yeah, that's Nick's.
But I mean, at the price point that it was for me, it's like that's maybe one new client for me, or certainly two smaller ones. Really, one small client would pretty much pay for the course. So
I can't tell you how many times I've gone on to courses, spent a lot of money and not got the value out of it. And so that fear of, okay, am I going to be spending another load of money and not get to the right position at the end of it? So it was that fear.
I think I was quite quick to invest. I wasn't somebody that said, oh, let me go away and think about it or anything else. Like, it was clear that I needed to do it. And so I guess it was a no-brainer for me in that sense.
So when you first came into Selling Made Social, what do you think was the first and most important changes that you made?
Yeah, so easily the most important changes that I made were just realizing that, okay, this isn't a resume, this isn't a CV. I need to treat this more like my sales funnel. I need to treat it more like pick and choose rather than here's a wall of text. You have to sift through it.
The time-saving tools that you introduced me to. I mean, as you said, I'm not a young guy, but there are things that are out there that I had no idea were available.
The first thing that you taught me was tell them what you do, what's the outcome, what's the benefit using me would do. So that was the primary change that I thought really worked for me. I suddenly I was selling my services.
It's set up. I reach out, make connections, and people every single day message me.
The program as a whole is, if you follow the program through and you put in the work, the whole program is transformational. Through the coaching process, my LinkedIn, I'm still getting contacted almost daily through LinkedIn with people that are inquiring about service.
I think that the thing that always stands out that I probably most learned from you was, first of all, the importance of having a strategy and following it, and just really having focus. Who am I speaking to, and really owning that.
So since you started, and it's only been, so it was a month since we spoke and a month or 6 weeks before that where you started. So you're at the 2.5 month mark.
Yeah, I am at 19 clients today. Massive. Awesome. 19 clients. Yeah, all mostly off LinkedIn. So I haven't paid for any ads or anything like that. Some organic referrals and everything, but it's been LinkedIn the driving factor to make it all happen.
I'm in the process of talking to another client in the Seattle area, but they're national. It's going to be a really sizable contract.
And when you say sizable, are you talking multi-5, 6-figure contracts over the life period? Sorry?
It'll be in the millions.
Okay. That's even better.
Last month I went to give a call, because I'm starting to do more corporate speaking. I went to do a corporate speaking engagement, and a lot of the people in the room who'd Googled me and looked at my LinkedIn profile, and they then went back to the organisers and said, oh my gosh, how did you manage to get Marielle, this, that, the other? And I'm just like, well, I think I'm some sort of celebrity. This is great. And that's all because my profile now really speaks to my expertise, and that's something that you really helped me really, really nail down on.
Oh, is this when I can do a shameless plug for my book?
You can.
What a coincidence. I happen to have a copy right here. It's a book. It's a very focused niche. It's for insurance producers like myself.
What I saw was that book became the bestseller in Amazon in that category, in a few categories, right?
It did, so I can officially claim to be an Amazon bestseller now.
That is so awesome. Yeah. Nice one. Knowing what you know now, what would you say to someone who's thinking, does it work? Does it work for me? Should I do it? Should I make the investment? What's your feeling?
Definitely worth it. The reason is LinkedIn's not for everyone, and if you ever talk to Ty, he'll tell you if it's going to work for you or not. That's the biggest thing. He's not going to sell you on something that's not viable for your network or for what you want to aim.
He will be honest with you. If you had a call with Ty and you spoke about what you do and Ty listens to what you do, and it's not it's not going to work for you, Ty will tell you it's not going to work for you.
I don't bring anyone into my coaching unless they should be on LinkedIn. It's a place for them to actually get results. And I am 100% confident that I can solve their problems on LinkedIn. It's that simple. I just do not bring in people that I can't help. What were the kind of 2 or 3 features of the way that I coach that you really liked and resonated with you?
Yeah. I'd say I love that you're very hands-on. Like I feel like you genuinely care and want your students to get results. I feel like I've messaged you. I mean, obviously we're on very different time zones. I would message you and you would always be really responsive and open. I really appreciate that.
If universities took the approach that you do, I think that the educational system would be a lot more effective.
The access to you, to tell you the truth, being able to actually get in touch with you. You always answer my questions, and solve whatever issue I'm struggling.
Working with Ty, it's much more than a profile. It's much more than even a targeting system or a strategy. It's very comprehensive in all the ways that you need to organically focus in on LinkedIn. And if you're in a point where you know in your heart that LinkedIn is the right space for you, it would be very difficult for me to imagine you, Ty, not being able to help them leverage their experience, whatever it is, how much or how little it is, to get to the people that they want to get to.
In hindsight, you could have charged me a lot more for the course.
I'll send another invoice tomorrow.
It's been amazing. I mean, I really appreciate that you're out there, sharing this and, making it available for a reasonable, cost, and it's way more value than what you get for the price. I mean, you coach us and, every step of the way and give us all the, way more time than you might need to, but you're just, there's never a question that you don't answer and go into a lot of detail with us. So it's been great. I appreciate all your help learning all this stuff.
What would you say to someone about investing with Tyron and selling on social?
I'll say do it, because you're going to make it back.
If people have a fear of the financial commitment that you're asking for, more or less they have to look at it as a investment in their business. Mm-hmm. If you invest a small amount of money to make a large amount, I'm probably going to increase my income by 10 to 12 times.
Yeah.
All of that has come through LinkedIn. My investment was more than worth what I paid for it.
There are plenty of courses out there, and there are plenty of people saying you can do this, you can do this. What I found really, really different is you, effectively, is Tyron's there virtually. I mean, I don't know when he sleeps. Because I often see him around, and any questions I have, I virtually get an instant answer. You're always there, you're always prepared to help, give sound advice. If people aren't prepared to fork out the investment and invest in themselves, complete the course, don't bother. But if you do, I can absolutely take it and do what Tyron says. You will master the skill and smash it.
All I could say is Tyron's real. He just he knows what he's talking about. He'll get results. And as long as you put in some effort, he'll stick with you, and he'll, I'm not going to say he'll drag you over the finish line, but he'll definitely lend a hand and help you get there.
I'm really, really grateful for all the support that you've shown me, all the ideas that you were constantly presenting to me. So I'm really, really grateful. And now my business is in a much stronger place. So just really to say thank you.
If somebody is looking at using LinkedIn, if they are in the B2B world,
he is the safe bet.
This particular decision with Tyron was a great decision.
If you're prepared to work, put the investment in and have the support and backing that you provide, then it's a no-brainer again.
It's a no-brainer for me.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer doing it with Tyron. He is the safe bet.